informed in 2019.
I'm interested in the facts.
Inform the American people.
The news and talk of Texas.
News Talk 820 WBAP, WBAP.com.
Coming up on the Chris Salcedo Show, a stat has been released that 30% of the state's ISDs allow teachers to arm. My question is, why isn't that 100%? Coming up at the top of next hour, folks, we'll address that. In the meantime, my good buddy Jeff Crilley, Real News PR, joining us right now about what Gillette has done to its brand. Jeff, welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me.
By the way, in interest of full disclosure, folks, Jeff is a long-time and dear friend of mine, and whenever I think about these types of issues, I always think about him because here's a guy who has experience in building brands. You know what Gillette has done. Gillette has come out there with an ad that, I'm sorry, there's no other way to classify it. It's 100% left-wing political. It swallows assumptions, and in my view, insults men everywhere. What is your take as a professional on what they have done?
Yeah, I went back and watched it 3 or 4 times, and you're right. I think it's just kind of a broad generalization that all men are, sexist and need to be educated about the Me Too movement, which I find insulting. And I think I'm tired, frankly, Chris, of brands preaching to us. I miss the day when razor companies talked about razors and beverage companies talked about beverages. Why are we suddenly being preached to through advertising?
Yeah, I'm waiting for one of these other, as a matter of fact, I think some other razor brands have already started nibbling at the edges here, but I can hardly wait for the razor company that says, "Hi, we're X razor company. We don't think men are scumbags." I mean, seriously. Right? I mean, they're trying to get they would make a play for this market share that Gillette has just ticked off.
Well, so I've kind of gone back and forth because we all had the same conversation when Nike hooked up with Colin Kaepernick. Yeah. And everybody was saying, "Well, gosh, you've just basically insulted everybody over 30." And said, we don't care if you buy our shoes. We're going to embrace, the younger generation. But then, as you know, Chris, Nike sales have gone up. So, I mean, did the folks over at Gillette have a calculated move saying, you know what, we know we're going to alienate a bunch of people, but we're also going to get a bunch of free advertising. And look, I mean, we're giving them free advertising. I don't know if it's good advertising, but we're talking about it right now. And so are all the networks. And so, from a standpoint of if you're just trying to shatter the noise and you're just trying to be controversial, just so that you get some publicity, I think we have to see how this plays out over time.
Right, and I think there's a contrast, and we all remember the Nike ad. It was pretending to be uplifting as it was putting on a pedestal Colin Kaepernick, a man who disrespected the flag and the country. But this ad, it is dark. I mean, I don't think you can classify it as anything but dark, right? I mean, it has a terrible message. It insults the main constituency that they're trying to appeal to and sell razors to. And then I guess it begs the question, Jeff, what does toxic masculinity have to do with razors anyway?
I don't get it. I mean, I don't even think you see a razor blade in the entire ad.
I know, right?
I really don't get it, and I don't know if they're planning on running it during the Super Bowl. But you remember during the Super Bowl, it used to be you just got a chance to kind of sit back and be entertained. And, the Budweiser frogs. I miss the old days when commercials were, about entertainment. And suddenly they've gotten so, preachy. And like you said, this is a very dark commercial.
Yeah. Our guest right now, Jeff Crilley, folks, he is with Real News PR. Used to be a TV journalist. I'm struck by some of the assumptions made in the ad, because it's an obvious nod to the Me Too movement, but it surrenders to all of these ideas that the center of society's problems are men. All well and good if you're not trying to market your product to men. But basically what Gillette has said in effect is all of our clientele who will buy our products are scumbags. Please buy our products. I mean, isn't that exactly the message?
It kind of is. I mean, as you look at some of the images, and I would encourage your listeners to just go to YouTube and put in Gillette ad, and it's the first thing that pops up. Yeah. There's a scene there where you have just one kind of sexist commercials from the 50s, and then you have a scene where you have all of these men lined up around, I think, barbecue grills, and they're all saying boys will be boys, and then you see these two kids fighting and stuff like that.
I've never said that. You know what? I have never come up with that excuse for men. When you do abhorrent things like abuse women, I have never heard anybody with any credibility say, well, boys will be boys. That's insulting. No man, a real man, knows you don't do those kinds of things to women. You don't exploit women. You don't harm women. You open doors for women. You put women on pedestals. That's what it means to be a man. And Gillette is denigrating every man to say, well, you guys don't know the difference. You guys are out there objectifying women or harming women and using the excuse of being a man, when everybody I know, every peer and every role model I've ever had says real men don't act that way.
Right. I don't know. I mean, how the bright minds. I mean, Gillette is part of Procter and Gamble. I mean, presumably you have some of the smartest people and smartest advertising people and smartest PR people are giving them advice. How did you screen this in front of all those smart people and say, yeah, let's go for it?
Winner.
Yes. How did that happen?
Well, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised, Jeff, if your phone starts ringing when Gillette realizes the full magnitude of what they have done here, because they're going to need your help. Real news PR purveyor, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Crilley. He is a former TV journalist and a guy who knows a thing or two about building brands. I always appreciate the expertise and the time, my friend.
Chris, thank you so much.
You bet. 800-288-WBAP.